Welcome back to The Explainer. I am, as always, absolutely thrilled you're hanging out with us today. So, we're unpacking a classic piece of source material. You probably think you know it inside and out, but we're going to look at it through a completely different lens. We're talking about the honest woodcutter, and we're going to completely break down the anatomy of one truly crucial choice. I absolutely love taking these seemingly simple, ancient narratives and dissecting the mechanics of the decisions inside them. Because honestly, there is so much structured, psychological brilliance hiding right beneath the surface. So, what happens when a desperate loss turns into the ultimate test of character? We're actually going to completely skip our usual agenda today, because this question right here, that's the only hook we need. This isn't just a story about losing a tool. No, it's a foundational text about morality, about sudden, blinding temptation, and human behavior under extreme duress. I want you to keep this exact question in the back of your mind as we analyze exactly how this whole narrative unfolds. And to really understand that test, we have to step directly into the world of the text itself. Once upon a time. It's a phrase that instantly shifts our brains into a completely different narrative space. We aren't just crunching data today. We're stepping into a classic framework where literally every single action carries profound weight. Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1, the woodcutter's hard livelihood, the daily reality. Let's break down this guy's entire existence, right? First, we have the input, hard work. The text tells us that every single day he's out there working tirelessly near a forest, just trying to earn enough money for his family. But then, look at the outcome. Poverty. He is explicitly described as a poor woodcutter, and I really want to emphasize the stark contrast. He isn't out there hustling to build some massive financial empire. He's completely trapped in a cycle of endless effort, literally just to survive. This establishes incredible empathy right from the jump, and it tells us that his tools aren't just, conveniences, they are his absolute lifeline. Which brings us to part 2, a devastating loss, the inciting incident. Let's walk through the chronological beats of this catastrophe. Our first point is every day. This is the baseline, that continuous, grueling work we just talked about. Then the shift, one day. He's near a river, cutting wood, and the axe just slips from his hands. It falls into the water. It's a completely mundane accident. But then the timeline rapidly accelerates to our third point, suddenly. He's crying, he's utterly devastated, and suddenly a fairy appears. Just notice how quickly a completely normal day spirals into a total disaster and then instantly pivots into this wild supernatural encounter. Now, what is really interesting here is the absolute crushing finality of his loss. It was his only axe. It's just 6 words, but they carry the entire weight of his survival. The text makes absolutely sure we understand that there is zero backup plan here. There is no spare tools sitting back in the shed. When that axe sank to the bottom of the river, his ability to feed his family sank right along with it. And that context, that is absolutely critical for what happens next. Because what happens next isn't just a simple rescue mission. Part 3, the fairy's golden test, a psychological exam. The fairy appears and asks a very straightforward, simple question. Why are you crying? Naturally, the woodcutter explains his catastrophic loss. But the fairy doesn't just wave a magic wand and fix it, right? Instead, she dives into the river. She's intentionally setting the stage. This simple question isn't just about her gathering facts. It's the opening move in a profound moral dilemma. She emerges from the river, but not with his old iron tool. She brings out a golden axe, and she asks, "Is this your axe?" I want to pause here for a second. Think about the sheer level of temptation being presented here. We've already established his crushing poverty. We've established that he works every single day literally just to survive. And now he is staring at an object made of solid gold. A simple yes would end his family's poverty forever. The temptation isn't abstract. It's staring him right in the face. Which forces the fairy to escalate the situation. Part 4, the silver temptation, an escalating test. And this brilliantly illustrates the sustained tension of the fairy's test. On the first dive, she retrieves the golden axe, and the woodcutter's answer, no. So she dives a second time. She brings up a silver axe, and again, she asks the question. And again, his answer is a flat no. It is one thing to resist a momentary, fleeting flash of temptation. It is entirely another to be offered a second, still immensely valuable alternative, and to look it in the eye and reject it again. The text highlights the sheer weight of his integrity here. He is literally saying no to immense, albeit dishonest, wealth, twice in a row, while living in absolute poverty. Let's move to the climax of our explainer today. Part 5, The Honest Choice. Truth Revealed. The source text uses a totally classic narrative structure here, mapping out this precise rule of 3 pacing. Step 1, the refusal of the gold. Step 2, the refusal of the silver. And finally, step 3, the fairy brings out an old, beat-up iron axe. And the woodcutter's reaction is instantaneous. "Yes, that's my axe," he says, completely thrilled. He doesn't just quietly accept it. He joyfully claims his humble, worn-out tool. The climax of this entire test isn't about acquiring wealth at all. It's about the overwhelming relief of reclaiming his honest livelihood. Which brings us right to the resolution. Part 6, the ultimate reward, a shift in reality. This represents the woodcutter's entirely new reality. The text tells us that the fairy was so pleased with his honesty that she rewarded him with all 3 axes. I mean, his net worth is instantly and exponentially multiplied. He gets to keep the old iron axe of his honest labor, sure, but he is also granted the golden axe and the silver axe. It's a total, complete transformation of his circumstances. And it wasn't achieved through cunning or deception, but purely through his refusal to lie when he was at his absolute most vulnerable. Honesty is the best policy. This is the ultimate payoff of our explainer and the timeless moral derived directly from the text. The narrative systematically strips away all of the woodcutter's security, presents him with a wildly high-stakes temptation, and proves that his internal character is worth far, far more than the temporary relief a lie would have provided. The ultimate reward wasn't just magic, it was the direct compound interest of his own integrity. So, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over today. If the fairy tested you today, which axe would you walk away with? When the pressure is really on and the ultimate shortcut is placed right in front of you, does your character hold up like the honest woodcutters? It's a fascinating question to ask ourselves. Thank you so much for exploring the anatomy of this choice with me today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.